Abandoned at the depot on Christmas night, the young teacher waited alone with her gloved hands folded tight in her lap, listening to the wind worry the eaves. Snow fell in clean, quiet sheets, muffling the world until even the ticking clock inside the station sounded afraid to speak. The last train had come and gone with a whistle that felt like an apology, and then the tracks lay empty, shining faintly under the lamps. Clara Whitfield had arrived with a single suitcase and a letter folded thin from being read too often. The school board's seal had promised a room prepared and a driver sent. She read the lines again as if the words might grow legs and fetch the man who had failed to appear. The ink was honest enough, but promises traveled poorly in winter. She stood and paced to keep warm, boots tapping the worn boards. She was 22 and far from Ohio, far from the warm kitchen where her mother sang while rolling dough. The job was meant to be a beginning, her own classroom on the Western Plains, a chance to matter. Instead, she was alone with snow piling at the door and the feeling that she had been misplaced like a parcel set on the wrong shelf. Outside, a lantern bobbed once, then steadied. Hoofbeats approached, slow and sure. Clara's heart lifted and then cautioned itself. Not every light meant help. The depot door creaked open, letting in a slice of cold and a man shaped by it, broad-shouldered, wrapped in a weathered coat, hat brim white with snow. He paused when he saw her, as if surprised to find anyone at all. "Evening," he said, voice rough but careful. "Depot's closed. You all right?" I was expecting someone," Clara answered. "The train," she gestured uselessly. "They said there would be a driver." He took in the empty room, the clock, the suitcase. "Name's Samuel Carter. I was bringing feed into town before the storm worsened. Didn't expect to see company." He removed his hat, snow spilling to the floor. "You look cold." She nodded, embarrassed by how near tears hovered. "I'm the new schoolteacher." "Well then," he said, a hint of a smile warming his eyes. "Guess you picked a memorable night to arrive." He set his lantern down and shrugged out of his coat, draping it around her shoulders before she could protest. It smelled of leather and wood smoke, of work done patiently. "My ranch is 5 miles west. It's not much, but there's a fire and a spare room. You can wait out the night there. We'll sort the rest come morning." Clara hesitated. The storm answered for her with a hard gust that rattled the windows. She thought of the letter, of the promise, of the quiet bravery she'd carried onto the train. "Thank you," she said. "I don't know what I would have done." Samuel smiled again, quick and small. Nobody should spend Christmas night alone. They rode with the world narrowed to lantern light and falling snow. The horse's breath steamed, steady as a heartbeat. Clara held her suitcase close and watched fences drift by like ghosts. Samuel spoke little, but when he did, it was of ordinary things, how the creek froze shallow first, how the stars looked sharper out here. His calm made the miles shorter. The ranch house glowed like a promise. Inside, warmth rushed to meet them. A fire snapped, and the scent of coffee lingered. Samuel set her suitcase by the door. "Make yourself comfortable," he said. "I'll put the horse up." Clara stood by the hearth, thawing her fingers, listening to the house breathe. On the mantel sat a small pine bough tied with twine and a single candle burned low. "You keep Christmas," she said softly when he returned. He shrugged. "My wife did. Past 3 winters back. Habit's a stubborn thing." "I'm sorry," Clara said, and meant it. He nodded, accepting the words like snow on a coat, noticed. Then brushed away. "Supper's simple. Stew and bread. Hope that's all right." It was more than all right. They ate at the small table, steam curling from their bowls. Outside, the storm piled itself against the walls, but inside there was light. Afterward, Samuel poured coffee and asked about her school. Clara spoke of chalk and children's names she had not yet learned, of wanting to make a place feel like it belonged to those who sat within it. "You'll do fine," Samuel said. "Town's small, but folks are decent. They just forget sometimes." The clock struck 9. Clara felt the long day settle in her bones. Samuel showed her to the spare room, fresh quilts turned down. "Rest," he said. "Morning'll be clearer." Sleep came like a mercy. When she woke, the storm had spent itself. Sunlight lay clean on the snow, and the world felt newly made. Over breakfast, Samuel hitched his wagon. "We'll go see about your arrangements," he said. "No sense leaving things to letters." The town greeted them with smoke from chimneys and the sound of a bell. The school board apologized with red faces and hurried words. A driver had fallen ill, messages had failed. A room was found above the general store, warm and ready. Clara accepted the apologies with grace she did not know she had learned overnight. Before they parted, Samuel cleared his throat. If you need anything, wood, a ride, advice, my place is west Carter Ranch. I won't forget, Clara said. Thank you for everything. Winter passed in lessons and laughter, in ink-stained fingers and small triumphs. On Sundays, Clara visited the ranch. She helped mend, learned the names of stars, and listened as Samuel spoke more, the quiet loosening. They shared coffee and the work of ordinary days. Spring came green and sudden. One evening, as the sun settled gold across the fields, Samuel walked her to the gate. You were meant to be here, he said simply. Clara looked at the land, at the road that had brought her, at the man who had found her when she was lost. So were you, she answered. They stood a moment, the future wide and patient before them, and the night no longer felt cold.